Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1838BN. Today's date is April 10th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Something Big is Coming. The Hunters Move In on Their Prey. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about the threats nowadays in America, especially with the caravans bombarding the border. One of the best things you can invest in for your home protection is a Patriot flashlight. And why not purchase one of the best flashlights on the market? It has life-saving emergency strobe lights. You can charge your phone anywhere, anytime, with a USB port. Other features include compass, rope, wire cutter, solar-powered recharging, high and low beam LED modes, glass-breaking hammer. Limited supplies last, and this is the very last chance you can get yours at a discount before they sell out. Purchase the best flashlight on the market and get 20% off when you use the code X20. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, they're starting to realize that everything that they were doing and everything they had planned and all their blocks, their fireballs, everything that they had, well, that's all coming to an end. And the mainstream media and people who believe the mainstream media, they're starting to realize, well, wait a minute, something else is going on here. They're starting to realize there's investigations happening. People are putting teams together to look into spying. I mean, was there really spying? And they're all starting to wake up. Remember, the mainstream media has been publishing article after article after article that Q is a conspiracy. That what Q is saying is not true. We're a bunch of crazy nut jobs that are violent, and they're comparing Q followers to, the mob boss and everything else. And they did this on purpose because they knew eventually the truth was going to come out, and they were trying to get everyone to stay on their side. But what's happening is that everything that these individuals believed is starting to fall apart little by little. It's amazing what a couple of months can do, and putting the right players in the right positions, what type of an effect it has when they start telling the truth. And people, they cannot believe what they're hearing. Now, a lot of people are still holding their ears, stamping their feet, pretending that this is not happening. But what's happening here is the hunters, those are the patriots, they're moving in on their prey. And all these investigations that were kept in the shadows, in the dark, they're all coming to light. And people are starting to realize that something else has been going on, that there might have been a coup, that there might have been spying on a president-elect and a president. And Trump was just not out there just talking and sounding crazy. He was telling the truth. And this is all going to come to light. And these people, they're not going to know what to do with all of this. And it's coming very, very quickly. I mean, think about what has happened in the last couple of weeks. We had Barr put into position. We had the summary of the Mueller report. Now, in a week, we're going to have the Mueller report come out. Barr has already told them what to expect, that there will be certain sections that will be redacted because of the law. We're following the law. You can't really argue with, we need to follow the law. You mean you would like me to break the law? No, that's not possible. So, following the law, he's going to release this report. People are going to see no collusion. People are going to see no obstruction. Yes, the mainstream media and the rest, they're going to try to make a really big deal out of this. But you can see they're already trying to get ahead of what is coming, and we'll be talking about that in just a minute. But I wanted to head out to Ecuador right now. There's a little update on Julian Assange. The Gateway Pundit put this out, and yesterday we talked about how there were police officers staking out Julian Assange, spying on Julian Assange. Well, it seems that the Spanish police, they are now investigating an espionage operation against Julian Assange. And it looks like it was made possible by the Ecuadorian government that had given him asylum. At a press conference, we see that Kristen Ramfinson announced that there was a $3 million extortion attempt against the publisher. A group in Spain had obtained a trove of photos, videos, and even legal notes from the surveillance cameras that the Ecuadorian Embassy is crawling with. Ramfinson explained that the group was demanding they pay up, or else they would start shopping the spy material to media outlets. He also showed the media examples of the invasive materials. The theft of the materials would not have been possible if the Ecuadorian government was not aiding the spying and the persecution of their citizen and refugee. As of right now, Julian Assange, he is safe. He's still in the embassy. He did not leave. But it looks like there were certain individuals trying to make a buck out of all of this. We see the New York Times right now. They are trying to get out in front of what is coming. And something is coming. Something big, something huge. We all know what it is. How can we tell? Well, whenever a bombshell is about to drop on the corrupt intelligence community, the New York Times does a quick narrative dump to get out ahead of the story. When you read the New York Times story about the Inspector General Michael Horowitz FISA investigation and AG Barr's review of Department of Justice and FBI activity, they drop the following two paragraphs. The Inspector General is also scrutinizing another early source of information for the Russia investigation, the People said. Mr. Horowitz investigators have been asking questions about the role of Stefan Halper, another FBI informant, and his prior work for the Bureau. Agents involved in the Russia investigation asked Mr. Halper, an American academic who teaches in Britain, to gather information on Mr. Page and George Papadopoulos, another former Trump campaign foreign policy advisor. So the New York Times is now saying that FBI agents asked help from an intelligence asset, Stefan Halper, to go gather information on Carter Page and George Papadopoulos. 6 months ago, the New York Times was calling people conspiracy theorists for pointing out how the CIA and the FBI were using overseas intelligence officials to run up against the Trump campaign. Now, they're trying to get ahead of the story. They're trying to get ahead of what is coming. And they're putting this information out there. It's just amazing because they know what's coming. Now, Representative Doug Collins has released the transcript from former FBI Chief Legal Counsel James Baker during his first day of testimony to Congress on October 3rd, 2018. Now, Baker was part of the FBI small group who claimed to be somewhat skeptical of the manner in which the FBI investigation was taking place. James Baker told Congress during his testimony the investigation was highly unusual. And this is the tweet from Representative Doug Collins. The transcript of James Baker's first interview with @Judiciary GOP is now available to the American public. To read the full transcript, visit the link that he gives in his tweet. And if you'd like to see that link, just go to Representative Doug Collins' Twitter account. You can see that link, or you can come to the X22Report.com, click on the report, scroll down, and you'll see his tweet there. But this brings me to post 2230. Now, an Annan posted a YouTube video that Q put up, and it says, "Panic in D.C., James Baker testifying against Comey." Now, Joe DiGenova said the following, and this is coming out of this video. "As I've been saying for 2 years, there's been a brazen plot to illegally exonerate Hillary Clinton in the email case, and then if she had lost, to frame Donald Trump. And that is exactly what these texts are about. Whether or not Mr. Strzok and Lisa Page and others are indicted is certainly a question people can debate. But let me just say, I know there is a grand jury underway. Testimony is being taken about Strzok and Page, McCabe, and others involved in the case. And the reason we know it is that James Baker, the former general counsel of the FBI, as turned state evidence, is fully cooperating with the Inspector General and with the federal grand jury. And I can assure you, Mr. Comey has been very silent in recent weeks, and the reason is very simple. He knows he's going to be indicted." Q says panic in D.C. R.E. Baker confirmed. Note IG involved. Huber, IG Horowitz, Storch. Let's move on to post 2323. So in this post, it gives us that video once again with DiGenova. And down below, Q says, "Did James Baker just testify behind closed doors? Rod Rosenstein," that's in kill brackets in bold all caps, "and James Comey coordinated to appoint Mueller. What a wonderful day." So Doug Collins just released the transcript of James Baker. So now the public gets to see what Baker was saying. So Sean Davis tweeted out the following. The top lawyer at the FBI testified to the House that it was his professional opinion that Hillary Clinton violated the law in the way she structured her secret email server and handled classified emails through that system. And here's the part of the transcript. Mr. Ratcliffe, okay, you told the Inspector General that the conduct of Hillary Clinton and her associates was appalling with respect to handling of classified information, correct? Mr. Baker said, I believe that's correct. Mr. Ratcliffe said, okay, and do you still believe that? Mr. Baker, yes. Mr. Ratcliffe, all right. I have the reason to believe that you originally believed it was appropriate to charge Hillary Clinton with regard to violation of law, various laws with regard to the mishandling of classified information. Is that accurate? Mr., and this is redacted, you may answer. Mr. Baker, yes. Mr. Ratcliffe, all right. Are you a reasonable prosecutor? Mr. Baker, not anymore. I'm not a prosecutor anymore. Mr. Ratcliffe, were you a reasonable prosecutor? Mr. Baker, I think so. Right there and then, Baker at the time thought and believed that Clinton should have been prosecuted. And here it is for the public to see. So the hunters are now on the hunt. Paul Sperry tweets out the following. The proverbial shit's gonna hit the fan next month when Senator Graham formally launches his investigation of the FBI investigations and I.G. Horowitz releases his long-awaited report on FISA surveillance abuses. So think about this for a second. Remember James Comey from yesterday in the video where he doesn't understand how Trump is going to investigate the investigators? And what would this prove? This would prove that you weren't doing your job, that you were covering up for someone and breaking the law. And he knows this, and he's panicking. So out of the Gateway Pundit, we find out that there are these newly released FBI court documents that confirm James Comey was indeed a witness in the Mueller investigation, and his Trump memos were of interest in the special counsel probe. The FBI and the special counsel's office have determined that disclosure of the Comey memos could reasonably be expected to adversely affect the pending Russian investigation. The Comey memos are his contemporaneous notes about incidents that are of interest in that investigation. Now, according to the court filings that were released, Comey's memos contain classified information, contrary to Comey's claims, including the name, which was redacted, of the confidential source the FBI used against Trump. The documents also suggest that FBI Director James Comey began his coup against President Trump because he didn't like his foreign policy decision-making. A couple weeks ago, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg in Washington ordered the FBI to turn over Trump's memos, both clean and redacted versions, by April 1st. Now, the FBI, they were trying to push back because there was a date of March 1st, and they said, no, we can't do this, saying the memos were still redacted and classified and should remain under seal to avoid interfering with the Mueller, investigation. Well, the Mueller investigation has ended now. And now they can release it. The blocks are gone. The firewall is removed. Everything is fair game. So let's go back in time a little bit. So FBI, or former FBI Director James Comey, personally signed off on 3 FISA applications to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page. One of the FISA warrants Comey signed off on was after he met with President Trump on January 6, 2017 at Trump Tower, with the intent of putting the incoming administration under a cloud of suspicion with an investigation and criminal leaks to the media. Trump fired Comey as FBI director on May 9, 2017, and Comey immediately went into overdrive to launch a special counsel probe into the president as revenge. Comey admitted during a congressional hearing that he gave portions of his memos to a friend to leak to the New York Times in order to prompt a special counsel investigation into Trump for obstruction of justice. And these memos, they were classified. Comey's in a little bit of trouble. Now, Attorney General William Barr, he is being questioned. He was questioned yesterday. He's being questioned today. And Attorney Barr was questioned today by Republican lawmaker Robert Aderholt about potentially fraudulent Department of Justice and FBI submissions to the FISA court to gain a Title I surveillance warrant against U.S. person Carter Page. In a deliberate response, AG Barr stated, "The Office of the Inspector General has a pending investigation of the FISA process in the Russia investigation. I expect that we will complete it in probably May or June, I'm told. More generally, I am reviewing the conduct of the investigation and trying to get my arms around all aspects of the counterintelligence investigation that was conducted during the summer of 2016. So the response that A.J. Barr gave, it seems like he's taking personal interest in the events behind the July 31st, 2016 origination of the Crossfire Hurricane counterintelligence operation. And it looks like, from all indicators, it looks like Barr's review is going much further than Inspector General Horowitz, taking the review all the way to the origin of the intelligence community operation. So this is very interesting. So let's continue here. So during Bill Barr's testimony today on the Hill, he was asked about spying on the president. Take a listen to his response.
A political campaign is a big deal. It's a big deal. Generation I grew up in, which was the Vietnam War period, people were all concerned about spying on anti-war people and so forth by the government. And there were a lot of rules put in place to make sure that there's an adequate basis before our law enforcement agencies get involved in political surveillance. I'm not suggesting that those rules were violated, but I think it's important to look at that. And I'm not talking about the FBI necessarily, but intelligence agencies more broadly.
So you're not suggesting, though, that spying occurred?
I don't. I guess you could. I think spying did occur. Yes, I think spying did occur.
Well, let me.
But the question is whether it was adequately predicated, and I'm not suggesting it wasn't adequately predicated, but I'd need to explore that.
Now, it seems to me that Bill Barr didn't want to give too much away, but he did say that he does believe that spying did occur on the president and on his campaign. And you can see the senators, the government officials, their reaction. They just sat there and they just were like, wait, what? They can't believe what they're hearing. What's happening right now is that we are witnessing the shadow investigations. They're all coming into the light. And again, a lot of these people are going to be shocked and surprised. Paul Sperry adds the following. Breaking. IG Horowitz has been investigating whether Fusion GPS and Glenn Simpson, who commissioned the discredited Trump-Russia dossier for the Clinton campaign, failed to register with the Justice Department as a foreign agents for Russian interests. So everything that they did to Paul Manafort and everything else, it's all going to be used on these individuals. Think about it. These individuals, did they register as a foreign agent? Most likely not. And we see already they are going to use the lying. Did you register as a foreign agent? Everything that we saw happen in the past is going to be used against them, because how do you counter this? Would he say, well, it's good for them but not good for these people? No. There's no way to explain why they shouldn't be following what was already done to the people with Mueller. Well, you got these people on lying, then we can get these people on lying. These people didn't register as a foreign agent. Well, we can get these people who didn't register as a foreign agent. It's all coming full circle now. And Trump was out there, and he completely unloaded on the deep state and the Mueller probe of the 18 angry Democrats. Take a listen.
Major, what's the current thinking of releasing as much of the Mueller report as possible? You going to tell yesterday? Well, the Mueller report's interesting. After $35 million, with 13 increased to 18 angry Democrats, people that truly hated Donald Trump, they found no collusion whatsoever with Russia. But I could have told you that, and so could most people, and so could have everybody that voted for me, which was a lot of people. So after wasting all of this money and all of this time with people that were haters, people that worked on the Hillary Clinton Foundation, people that were absolutely haters of Trump, they found no collusion. What has been found during this period of time are the illegal acts of getting this whole phony investigation started. And hopefully that's where people are going now. That's where people are going. And it's very interesting. It was an illegal investigation, Major. It was an illegal investigation. It was started illegally. Everything about it was crooked. Every single thing about it. There were dirty cops. These were bad people. You look at McCabe and Comey, and you look at Lisa and Peter Strzok. These were bad people. And this was an attempted coup. This was an attempted takedown of a president. And we beat them. We beat them. So the Mueller report, when they talk about obstruction, we fight back. And you know why we fight back? Because I knew how illegal this whole thing was. It was a scam. And what I'm most interested in, is getting started. Hopefully the Attorney General, he mentioned it yesterday, he's doing a great job, getting started on going back to the origins of exactly where this all started. Because this was an illegal witch hunt, and everybody knew it, and they knew it too, and they got caught. And what they did was treason. What they did was terrible. What they did was against our Constitution and everything we stand for. So hopefully that will happen. There is a hunger for that to happen in this country like I have never seen before, including all of the millions of people that voted for me. What they did was disgraceful. There's never been anything like it in the history of our country. Thank you.
Senate Republicans
Well, I like Herman Cain, and Herman will make that determination. Herman is a wonderful man. He's been a supporter of mine for a long time. He actually ran a very good campaign, and that's up to Herman. Herman is, he's already sat on one of the Fed boards, and he's just somebody I like a lot. As to how he's doing in the process, that I don't know. You go through a process. But Herman's a great guy, and I hope he does well. David.
Stephen Miller is basically running the whole apparatus. Have you ever thought about making Stephen Miller the DHS representative?
Now, Stephen is an excellent guy. He's a wonderful person. People don't know him. He's been with me from the beginning. He's a brilliant man. And frankly, there's only one person that's running it. You know who that is? It's me.
So as you can see, Trump, he's out there saying, listen, this whole thing was illegal. They found no collusion. It was a waste of time. These are the people that started it. These people should be put into jail. These people were bad. We can see at this point, Trump is continually out there pointing the finger at these people, preparing the public, getting everyone ready for what is coming. And we can see that the mainstream media, they're a little nervous. They're a little afraid here. They're trying to get ahead of the story. Comey is out there. He's a little nervous. Clinton's nervous. Schiff is nervous. Nadler's nervous. All these individuals are wondering, how can we get out of this? Because they were in control before. They are no longer in control. They're trying to fight off what is coming, trying to explain why all this happened. and why they shouldn't be indicted, why they shouldn't go to jail, and why they shouldn't be charged for treason. Think about what they're going up against right now. And you can see the real panic. And I wouldn't be surprised in a couple of months, we might see some of these people just completely disappear and run off, or try to run off. Now, the mainstream media, they are pushing their agenda about separating children at the border. And Trump posted a video showing children separated back in 2014 and said one word, which was truth. And what Trump was showing was that this policy was put into place by Obama back in 2014. He built the cages, he separated the children, and now the mainstream media, they're trying to spin this. They're trying to explain away why Obama did it. Now, Sam Vinograd, a former top advisor to the Obama administration, says President Trump's policies of separating children from adults when they illegally cross the U.S.-Mexico border is much worse than Obama's policy of separating children from adults when they illegally cross the U.S.-Mexico border. Wait, what? What he's saying is that Obama separated the children to keep them safe. Trump is separating the children because he doesn't want them safe. Does that make any sense? No. This was the policy that was used in the past. Trump is actually separating the children because we know these individuals were told to come up here with children. And a lot of these individuals, these are not their children. A lot of these people are human traffickers. And they're not coming here for asylum. They're coming here for jobs and other reasons. That's why they were told to come up here. If you go back to the reports that we did before, we were covering all this way before this even came up. It's amazing how we're going full circle, where the mainstream media hid all of this, and now the truth is being put out there. And you know what they're doing? They're taking what Obama and the rest have done all throughout the years, and they're turning it around and putting it on Trump, saying it was him. It wasn't us. I mean, think mirror here. Isn't this what the central bank does? Isn't this what government officials do? They always do the opposite of what is really going on. The Patriot Act is not really for patriots. The Affordable Care Act is not really affordable for the people. The central bank is not helping the people. They're making it worse for the people. Removing guns from the population is not keeping the population safe. And now they're trying to say, hey, this is Trump. This had nothing to do with what happened in the past. Yeah, it does. Because they did this all along. Now, Judicial Watch, they discovered something very interesting about Mexico and how Mexico is receiving $33 billion. And actually, Trump mentioned this and said this needs to be stopped. And I think this is next on his agenda. And I think this is why he was out there saying that Mexico was going to pay for the wall. So President Trump, he said he would block money transfers to Mexico to fund a much-needed border wall. Mexicans in the U.S. sent a record $33 billion in remittances last year, and a big chunk of it flowed through a government program operated by the Federal Reserve. This means that amid an onslaught of illegal immigration, the U.S. government is largely responsible for the billions in remittances flowing south of the border from illegal aliens. Now, figures that were released by Mexico's central bank show that 104 million transactions were executed in 2018, nearly 6 million more than the previous year. Now, the United States facilitates the process with a program called Direct to Mexico, launched by the Federal Reserve. Now, President George W. Bush came up with the idea following the 2001 U.S.-Mexico Partnership for Prosperity to provide low-cost banking services to illegal immigrants and facilitate the procedure for those sending money home. In its first year, 2005, remittances to Mexico topped $20 billion, and the Federal Reserve reports double-digit percentage growth for the past several years. Remittances are transferred through the Federal Reserve's own automated clearinghouse linked directly to Mexico's central bank, Banco de Mexico. The Trump administration should eliminate it because it undermines our nation's immigration laws and it is a potential national security nightmare. Marketing materials target immigrant workers in the U.S., regardless of their legal status, as well as banks, credit unions, and other financial institutions. The program is promoted as the best way to send money home, offering more pesos for every dollar. American financial institutions are charged 67 cents per item to transfer money from the United States to Mexican banks, ensuring a highly competitive rate. The Federal Reserve also provides participating U.S. financial institutions with Spanish-language promotional materials to help get your message out. The marketing materials also include the number of Mexican migrants in the U.S., with no distinction between those here illegally or not. So when the program was created, the Federal Reserve officials acknowledged that most of the Mexican nationals who send money back home are illegal immigrants. So a Mexican-issued identification is the only requirement to use the government banking service. A colorful brochure promoting direct to Mexico offered to help immigrants who don't have bank accounts and assured the best foreign exchange rate and low transfer fees. A frequently asked questions section posed this: if I return to Mexico or am deported, will I lose the money in my bank account? The answer, no. The money still belongs to you, and you can easily be accessed at an ATM in Mexico using your debit card. In short, the U.S. created this special banking system specifically for illegal aliens, and tens of billions of dollars have streamed through it. Gee, I wonder why the illegals want to come up to the United States. They're siphoning money out of the country and into theirs. So Trump, he can stop all this, and I believe he's in the process of doing this. Now, I think he's taking one step at a time, and I believe he's going to amend the Patriot Act to block wire transfers from Mexican nationals using companies such as Western Union and others. So when Trump said, yeah, Mexico is going to pay for the wall, I mean, if he just stops this, that's $33 billion. Yeah, Mexico would have paid for the wall. And I believe he's going to be getting to this because, remember, he knows that this is going on. He said he's going to block this, but I think he's dealing with other things first. We see that Q is back online, and Q posted. Now, I know there was a lot of individuals out there saying that Q is dead. He's never returning. It's funny. Q disappears and goes dark for a certain period of time, and Q has done this many, many times before. Q monitors, likes to see what's going on, likes to see what the deep state, the mainstream media, what the trolls, the shills, what they're putting out there, and then Q comes back, because there were a lot of shills and trolls out there saying that Q is dead, Q's never coming back, I'm Q, and everything else like this. So Q is back, and Q gave us a link to Fox News, and it says, Barr testifies spying did occur on Trump campaign amid reported review of informant's role. And Q said one word, in all caps: panic. The truth is out there. So what comes next? The Mueller report is going to be coming next week. The mainstream media is going to try to spin this. Schiff is going to try to spin it. Nadler's going to try to spin it. Nadler and Schiff are going to scream that they want the unredacted. They want Barr to break the law, and they're going to try to push this. And this will all die down. And then people will see the truth, that there was no collusion, there's no obstruction. This was a waste of time. Then the fun begins. What do we have next? Well, we have the declass. We know the mainstream media is going to try to get out ahead of all of this. They're going to try to spin what's coming. New York Times has already started. And the deep state, they're going to plan some type of an event to clog the news cycle. Because once they get word, or they think they understand when the declass is coming, this is when they're going to hold the event. Just like they thought the Mueller summary was coming on a certain Friday, well, they kind of messed up and they used their ammunition and had the event a week early. I believe Q is going to do the same thing. Give some disinformation, have them think it's coming this time or some other time, and they're going to use ammunition to try to clog the news cycles. Then Q, the Patriots, will wait and release the declass. We know the OIG report is coming sometime May or June. And if we go back, remember what Q says. When do birds sing? in the spring. Most of these individuals are going to do a couple things here. Either they're going to run. I don't know where they're going to go. There's no place to hide. Or they're going to commit suicide or turn on each other and sing like a bird. What comes after that? Truth, then justice. And we know that these individuals, the mainstream media, many of these people, those who are not singing or running or committing suicide, they're going to lose all credibility. The mainstream media is going to lose credibility. Look what happened when the summary came out. They were defending everything they did. When the declass comes out, when the OIG report comes out, and it shows that, yes, they did spy on a president. Obama was responsible. Brennan was responsible. When the investigators come out with the evidence that Hillary Clinton sold out this country, that she hid information on her server and allowed other countries to access her server, and she's brought up on treason charges, what is the mainstream media going to do? They're going to lose all credibility. Their world is going to come crashing down on them. And I think many of these reporters, these announcers of scripts, where they read the script, they're going to have a huge problem. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them have nervous breakdowns. And this is going to be a total disaster. Remember, going back many, many Q posts, a lot of people are going to have a difficult time with this. They're going to hear the truth. They're going to reject it. They're going to be angry. They're going to be angry at the mainstream media. They're going to be angry at everyone. And they're going to be at a point where they don't know what's true, what's not true, and they're going to try to make sense of all of this. Because it's very difficult to come out of this deep sleep and then realize that everyone that you believed in was lying to you. And they were hiding all this. And these individuals are traitors. They're treasonous. And they were selling secrets to other countries. And they were telling people all this time that wasn't true. America's going to go through a turning point. But it will be good for the nation. It will bring people together. It will unite people. Because we will know who the enemy is. We will know who to point the finger at. I mean, we all know, but the other people will start to realize, they'll start to understand. And then we can use the phrase, we, the people. Where we go one, we go all. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.